Hey, this is Paul here at the Gentleman Gunner. Now, this is the tuning video for the Good to Great Glock 45. Now, just a couple brief notes for you guys on this as you're watching this is I ended up using two different types of ammo, one being Blazer 115 aluminum and the other being Winchester NATO spec ammo, which is closer to the defensive load type of realm, which you may consider. And I ended up doing 10 different spring combinations with all this. The first being the stock recoil spring, which is about 18 pounds from Glock on the Glock 45 or 19. Additionally, I did test all three springs that came with the radiant compressor kit. So that's 18, 15, and 13, and the video will correspond in that order. And with the DPM, there were a massive amount of combinations, but what I ended up doing was a total of 6 different combos, and the first 2 tests I did was without an inner spring and using the lightest outer spring and the heaviest outer spring to see where those two land with the ammo. And as we went along, the next 2 sets had the lighter inner spring, and then the final 2 sets had the heavier spring. So that's what we used for the video. Now, how I formatted this for you guys is that you will see the raw speed I was able to do doubles with on this particular day, along with the type of grouping that was going with it. So you're gonna wanna see my cadence and pay attention to where it's ejecting. If it's very light or you can't see in the frame where the rounds are landing, it's most likely being shot out of frame. And that's a good indicator that it's on the lighter side. And if it's a little heavy, you're gonna see that it starts to dribble out on some of the combinations we picked. And after we do the real time, we'll do the slow motion from the side so you can take a look at the behavior of the gun in recoil. You can see its muzzle rise, how quickly it cycles, and if there's any oscillation when it comes back into batteries. And so you guys can see those different outcomes. Now, just one brief note on this. My dot was off this particular day. It was about 2 inches to the right, and I did shoot this at about 10 yards. So take that with a grain of salt, and you're gonna see that some of these spring combinations are just not ideal for the gun, and that's when you start to see the groups really disperse out. And so now I'm gonna switch it to the testing portion of this, and don't forget, and I will pin it in the comments when it goes live, don't forget to check out the review on the Good to Great Glock 45. Appreciate you guys.
So this is it. It's just too light of a spring for this type of setup, so I probably wouldn't run the 13. Okay, so I managed to fire off a few rounds with the Plus P round, but as you can see, that's actually an okay strike. But I think the combination working with Timney's spring in here for the striker spring is just a touch too soft coming back, because this thing barely just goes into battery with a 13 pounder. So I would nix that.